And for those attending in person, thank you for joining us. Please silence all of your electronic devices, and we will now take attendance. Tom, if you'll be so kind.
Chairman Schweier.
Here.
Representatives Abney, Curry, Friel,
Designation.
Isaacson, Kazim,
Designation.
Nelson,
Designation.
O'Mara,
Designation.
Friel Otten, Probst, Prokopiak, Smith Waddell,
Designation.
Takak, Young. Chairman Cutler.
Present.
Representatives Anderson, Cooper,
Designate. Oh.
Diorsi, Gleim, Kozak,
Designation.
McKenzie, Ortitai,
Designation.
Rosel,
Present.
Schlegel, Shalaba,
Designation.
Watro. A quorum is present.
Thank you, sir. Having established a quorum, we will be considering one bill on today's agenda. That bill is House Bill 1701, printers number 2101. Don't worry, Chair Cutler, we still know who you are. I would like to call that bill up. And Alicia, if you'd be so kind as to read a summary of the bill.
House Bill 1701, sponsored by Chair Fiedler, will establish a framework for assessing public school facilities in Pennsylvania by creating a statewide facility inventory, conducting facility condition assessments, and requiring modernization plans from school entities. Some of the major components of the bill: it would require PDE to develop a public school facility inventory and collect information from school entities by December 2027. It would immediately establish the Public School Facility Advisory Committee within PDE to develop uniform criteria and measures for the facilities condition assessment. It would also require PDE and the committee to develop a facilities conditions assessment, which would include structural components and system components, compliance with requirements with the ADA, and any risk exposure to environmental hazards. And finally, it would require each school entity to develop a plan for the modernization of its facilities within 1 year of its assessment and to be posted on its public website.
Thank you. And I'd like to turn the microphone over to the prime sponsor, Representative Chair Fiedler, if you have some comments to make.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman Schweier, Chairman Cutler, and members of the Education Committee. Thank you for considering House Bill 1701 today, legislation that would create a statewide school facilities inventory. As lawmakers, as community members, and as parents, we know that many of our school buildings are outdated. Some are unsafe. Ancient electrical systems, leaking roofs, a lack of ADA ramps. The list goes on and on. On and on in schools across all of Pennsylvania. We know some of these problems, but we do not have a statewide picture of them. That is why I feel this bill is so important. Now that we have begun again to allocate state funding to school facilities improvement, I believe our job as lawmakers is to wisely and responsibly invest those dollars. This legislation is key to helping us do that by creating a statewide school facilities inventory to compile comprehensive data on our school buildings that does not yet exist. Housed within the Department of Education, the statewide inventory would allow PDE and other experts to make recommendations for repairs with comprehensive, up-to-date data. I'd like to thank the many stakeholders who offered guidance and input on this legislation. I'd like to thank the chairman for holding a hearing recently on this bill in my district. And I'd like to thank the committee members for considering this legislation today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, ma'am. There are 3 amendments to House Bill 1701. The first, I'll ask for a motion to call up Amendment 801768 by Representative Curry is our motion. Thank you, Rep. Isaacson, and it's seconded by Representative Prokopiak. Thank you both. Alicia, if you'll give a description of this amendment, then we'll turn it over to you, ma'am.
A01768 makes a variety of technical changes. It also requires third-party vendors that complete an assessment for a school entity to provide the school entity with an executive summary of the assessment. The summary cannot include plans or records that expose vulnerability through the disclosure of the location, configuration, or security of crucial systems. It also requires each school district to post the executive summary on its website.
Thank you. And Representative Curry, do you have some comments to make on the amendment?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Amendment A01768 makes targeted changes to clarify and strengthen the bill. It adds athletic facilities to the scope of school facility assessments and reduces the size of the School Facility Advisory Committee. The amendment also ensures comprehensive evaluations of HVAC systems and components, removes duplicative language related to requests for proposals with PDE, and eliminates the secure master key box requirement. Additionally, it requires that an executive summary of each school facility assessment be provided to school districts, highlighting key issues such as asbestos, lead, mold, and ADA compliance. I respectfully ask for a yes vote. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any questions or comments on Amendment A01768? Okay, seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Tom?
Chairman Schweier,
Yes.
Representatives Abney, Curry, Friel, Isaacson, Kazim,
Yes by designation.
Nelson,
Yes by designation.
O'Mara,
Yes by designation.
Friel Otten, Probst, Prokopiak, Smith Waddell,
Yes by designation.
Takak, Yun, Chairman Cutler,
No.
Representatives Anderson, Cooper, Diorsi, Lime, Kozak,
Designated no.
McKenzie, Ortitai,
Designated no.
Rosel,
No.
Schlegel,
No.
Shalaba,
Designated no.
Wattrow. The ayes are 14, the nays are 12. The amendment passes.
Thank you. Sir, next up on the list of amendments is Amendment A01660, offered by Representative Isaacson. Is there a motion? Thank you, Representative Young. Is there a second? There is by Representative Takak. Alicia, if you would be so kind as to read a summary of the amendment.
A01660 will add energy efficiency and performance to the list of data points to be measured in the facility conditions assessment of a school entity.
Thank you. Representative Isaacson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for considering this amendment to this bill. Just trying to make it a little bit stronger. Certainly when we were on the Basic Ed Funding Commission traveling the state, something that we heard from numerous school districts was the costs and some of the inefficiencies. Certainly Chairman Schweier's district has the oldest building that's still operating in Pennsylvania. But even when we were out at Minority Leader Topper's district, his school district brought the concerns to the commission about the outdated heating systems that they had and the efficiencies that are lost and costing them more money. And certainly if we could find out how we can help them, we could certainly help the school districts move forward with that. So I would really appreciate an affirmative vote. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any questions or comments on this amendment? Chair Keller.
Just very briefly, knowing that my own school has underwent a similar review when they were looking at doing buildings, I do think that it makes operational sense to determine operational costs and what it would actually cost to keep a building open, so I will be supporting this amendment.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments on the Isaacson amendment? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call.
Chairman Schweier,
Yes.
Representatives Abney, Curry, Friel,
Yes by designation.
Isaacson, Kazim,
Sorry, Representative Friel, was that a yes, sir? Since you're sitting there and you missed your point? Listen, I know you can say yes or no, sir. Okay, that was a yes. Thank you, sir.
Kazim,
Yes by designation.
Nelson,
Yes by designation.
O'Mara,
Yes by designation.
Friel Otten, Probst, Prokopiak, Smith Waddell,
Yes by designation.
Takak, Yun, Chairman Cutler,
Yes.
Representatives Anderson, Cooper, Diorsi, Glime, Kozak,
Yes by designation.
McKenzie, Ortitai,
Yes by designation.
Rosal,
Yes.
Schlegel,
Yes.
Shalaba,
No by designation.
Watro. The yeas are 21, the nays are 5. The amendment passes.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, Representative Isaacson. And the last amendment to be considered is Amendment A01661 by Representative Kazim. I will offer it for her. Is there a motion to consider? Representative Curry, thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Representative Isaacson. And Alicia, if you'll be so kind as to give us a brief description.
A01661 will add energy efficiency and performance to the list of data points to be measured in the facility conditions assessment.
Thank you. And Representative Kazim asked me to just speak briefly on it. Her amendment adds language to include evaluations of physical safety and security in our school facilities assessment. As we determine the current condition of school facilities across the Commonwealth, it's equally important that we ensure students and staff have safe and secure buildings for learning and instruction to take place. This amendment makes the bill stronger, and she encourages, and I will also say I encourage, members to give it an affirmative vote. Thank you. Are there any further questions or comments on 1661? Chair Cutler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, very similar to the last amendment, I do think that including physical security and upgrade assessments are important, so I will be supporting the amendment. The one thing I would like to do in conjunction with the first amendment that we offered, though, is to ensure that they are not improperly disclosed, even by methodology by which, for example, you look at the prices and you can figure out what in fact was bought. So I'd like to further review that language, but I will be supporting the amendment at this time because I think that is an appropriate thing to review in regards to our student safety.
Thank you. Representative Schlegel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be brief and echo Chairman Cutler's thoughts on this. One of the comments that the two superintendents from districts that I represent did share, and they gave an example relative to security matters, that there is a concern with just some simple possible public display of things about shrubbery, windows or doors that someone that wishes to breach a facility's security might be cause for that. So again, I would echo Chairman Cutler's sentiments and hope that we can take a look at that and be a little bit more succinct. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are there any further questions or comments on 1661? Before we take a roll call, I will say I certainly understand and agree with the comments of both the chair and the representative. Just yesterday, my daughter had a bomb threat at her school and spent 2 hours outside with 3,000 other students at William Allen High School. Those things are a significant real concern for all of us. I will say that I do understand that sometimes when you're offering multiple amendments on a bill, sometimes it's difficult to follow the bouncing balls. So for any member who is concerned about it, including members of our caucus, I believe that much of what was adopted in Amendment 1768 should address those concerns for you. But as always, certainly understand everyone's concern about that. It was something that I believe that the maker of the amendments have been pretty diligent on that. So I do appreciate everybody's comment on that. It's something that that the House Democrats certainly agree with you both on it, and trying to be very deliberate on those issues. It's not certainly something that we're taking lightly either. With that, if there are no other comments, we'll take a roll call vote.
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representatives Abney, Curry, Friel, Isaacson, Kazim,
Yes, by designation.
Nelson,
Yes, by designation.
O'Mara,
Yes, by designation.
Friel Otten, Probst, Prokopiak, Smith Waddell,
Yes, by designation.
Takak, Yun. Chairman Cutler.
Yes.
Representatives Anderson,
Yes.
Cooper, Diorsi, Lime, Kozak,
Yes by designation.
McKenzie, Ortitai,
Yes by designation.
Rosal,
Yes.
Schlegel,
Yes.
Shalaba,
No by designation.
Watro. The yeas are 24, the nays are 2. The amendment passes.
Thank you, sir. Having considered all amendments that have been timely filed for House Bill 1701, we will now consider the bill as amended. Are there questions or comments on House Bill 1701 as amended from anyone? Chair Cutler? Or do you have, okay. Representative Anderson?
I have just two simple questions. Does anybody know how many buildings across the state of, we have 500 districts, but how many buildings there are to be assessed?
I mean, that's part of the concern, sir, isn't it? That we don't have full building assessments on our school districts.
Yeah, but
We
shouldn't
don't.
we know how many buildings?
Sir, yes, we should. We should know everything about the buildings. We should know the status of them all before we ask for taxpayers to invest potentially billions of dollars in them. We should know when the buildings were built. We should know their square footage. We should have an understanding of its future needs. I think that's kind of the point of the bill, sir.
Well, the bill should let us know how many buildings there are if we're going to determine the cost. And so I do know how many buildings there are. There's 500 school districts. According to PD, you can simply ask them. There's 2,952 buildings. But since we've now added, that's just instructional buildings, but since we've added administrative offices, athletic facilities, and maintenance buildings, that would add 400 admin buildings, approximately, 450 athletic facilities, and 500 plus maintenance buildings, for a grand total of 4,300 buildings to be assessed. According to SiteLogic, who does these things professionally, just the HVAC alone is estimated to be $100,000 to $150,000, depending on the size of your district alone. So with all of that, do we have any idea how much this is going to cost? This is a big project. It's a monstrous project. So any estimates?
No, sir, that would be for the Appropriations Committee to come up with a fiscal assessment, sir.
Okay. So before we vote, I think it's really important to know how much things are going to cost before we pass legislation, especially for this. And this is not a disagreement on buildings being in repair, that the buildings that need to be fixed up. I taught in a classroom where the heater was broken. I get that. But this is about every building in the state, and it seems extremely unwise and completely irresponsible to approve a project without even a remotely defined scope and cost. We have no idea. So for that, I am a common sense no on this legislation.
Thank you. Representative Rosal?
Thank you, Chairman. If conservative estimates are correct on this, it would cost about $15 million. Specifically, given our current budget and revenues, which taxes would we be raising here in Harrisburg to cover the funding? Or are we relying on local school districts to raise their property taxes to cover the costs? Anybody?
Sir, I'm not, there's no issue about taxation in this bill, sir.
It has to be paid for somehow.
Is that the conclusion of your comments, sir?
Yes.
Great. Representative Gleim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Bilskia?
I voted no to the amendments, and I'm going to vote no on the bill because the bill isn't ready, the policy isn't ready. I think that, again, committee is the place that we hash these things out, make sure the policy is in good order before we pass it out of committee. I have a question, and I was just wondering, for the maker of the bill, is this a bill that's reacting to the U.S. Department of Education sending responsibilities to the states?
I'll jump in. No, In my comments, as you will hear at the end, this is a reaction to a year and a half of Basic Education Funding Commission meetings where the subject of facility oversight, the subject of analysis over the status of our facilities at our 500 school districts were brought up at least 7 or 8 times at the various hearings, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Just like under COVID, where our department here in Pennsylvania had no plan or strategy to elevate our students, like other states did, I would be a proponent of having an actual plan. I think this is actually just a segment, a section of the plan that our department should be rolling out, getting ready for the fact that we are going to be taking over our education system outside of the U.S. Department of Education. This is just one little portion of that. I would ask for a very holistic strategy or plan for all of that happening in our state. And this isn't ready. This policy isn't ready, and I'm a no. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Representative Schlegel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to take this opportunity very briefly, though, to list a couple concerns when I solicited some feedback from our school leaders in the district and the Career and Technology Center that I represent. A number of my comments in general will echo some of the concerns that have already been shared. And I had already mentioned a concern relative to security. But I think the first reaction that our superintendent shared with me was, oh no, here we go, another mandate. But they also went further. They talked about that each school entity already does permit all residents to know and to comment and ask questions about decisions to construct and renovate school facilities, as well as the funding that those operations may incur. Our executive director at the Career and Technology Center went a little bit further, and he asked that Career and Technology Centers be exempt because all facility decisions must be made by the authority who actually owns the building, and that they are represented by members who are not elected. Moreover, all school districts who send students to the Career and Technology Center, they appoint a school director from their district who are elected by the voters to serve on the Career and Technology Center's Joint Operating Committee. In addition, any decisions that are made by the authority, by the Career and Technology Center Joint Operating Committee, is also discussed in public and deliberated upon, including funding, at each school district board meeting. So this does seem like a daunting task with the assessment and the review by an independent expert, not to mention inspection of any number of school entity facilities. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Chair Cutler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to thank the prime sponsor for hosting us in your district for the hearing. And I know this is an issue that you've been passionate about for some time. I also would offer that I also agree that it's an important one. Where I think we diverge a little bit is in terms of, I think a well-managed school district has already undertaken this process. And like Representative Schlegel and talking to some of my own home school districts, they have started this process, some of them decades ago, and they have a revolving review system that they have in place. So that's actually one of my biggest concerns about the bill, is the balance between getting the information, which I understand that desire, with school districts that are already doing this. And how do we save them some cost when it comes time to comply with this if this bill were to become law? Because quite frankly, $100,000 on an HVAC system is, to review a system that was already planned for and appropriately spec'd and is energy efficient, is $100,000 that you can't use on your next project. So I have some concerns regarding, the conflicting or the complications and the duplications related to schools that are already doing this. And as we heard at the hearing, even Philadelphia is undertaking such a property assessment even as we speak. So I think we could all argue that maybe some schools should have acted sooner, some schools should have acted quicker. But my goal is to balance the need with a safe environment with saving money for those who are already, quite frankly, ahead of the curve. I think also I have some questions regarding with PDE having received the SASE and having staff in position to manage this issue. I am a little worried about the duplication of services there as well, and just adding another level of review and bureaucracy that maybe we can work around. I also have concerns with the local schools, and I'll use my own as an example, that they're in the middle of this process. Quite frankly, we have a very low tax base. You know, it's interesting, in the Commonwealth, the urban schools and many of the very rural schools have a similar problem in that they don't have a very large tax base. In fact, my own school we raised our income tax 20-some years ago because our property tax base was just so low. And we thought that the income tax would be more equitable. So in their case, they've made those decisions. They've closed, they've renovated buildings, they've done the things, including, as I shared in the hearing, the elementary school that I went to. And those bonds are coming now to being paid off. And they're already in that cycle. And I'd love to talk with the prime sponsor about what if anything, can be done to save them the unnecessary duplication of that going forward. But ultimately, I think that our top priority, and we've heard it several times here through the discussions, which is the educational environment and then the funding of the educational system. And my biggest concern is while we're several months late with the budget, schools have an unfunded and very worrisome future in front of them at this point. I don't know that it's wise for us to continue piling on additional costly mandates at the same time that they're waiting for funds. So I'd rather be focused on the actual budget discussions as opposed to future costs. And I think that some local school districts are already well positioned to do this. And for that reason, I'll be a no at this time.
Thank you, sir. So, as I responded to Representative Gleim, the genesis of this legislation, at least at this point, with the work that was done with the amendments and such, is a direct result of multiple conversations over the course of the last several years, bipartisan, bicameral, with the administration, through what was the Basic Ed Funding Commission. I'm sorry, Representative Isaacson, to once again bring up something that causes us both a little bit of a shiver throughout that process, as that process was, as we know, a lot. But I will say one of the common themes that came out of that entire process, the fact that we are sending our students to schools that are inappropriate for anybody. I represent 3 school districts. My largest school district, my youngest daughter is still a student at, just completed their facility assessment, and they are they are believing that in today's dollars, we have somewhere around $500 million of deferred maintenance. That doesn't count the need to build new schools. We do have a school in Allentown that was built in 1874. If anybody's wondering, there was a new wing. That new wing was built in 1891. And I think everybody in the room will be shocked that the overwhelming majority of students that are there are, in fact, black and brown. They don't have handicapped accessibilities. There's no parking for faculty. There's no safe pickup spot for kids. It would not be deemed a toxic school because it was built before asbestos was a readily used building material. That is one of 1,000 stories that we heard in places like Bedford and Fayette counties, places like rural York County. We went to Philadelphia County. We went all over the Commonwealth, and these were the stories that we heard. At the same time, when we were working on the funding system for the Basic Ed Funding Commission, in response to, in large part, a lawsuit that we lost, everybody remembers that, we were told repeatedly that it is impossible for us to get an accurate figure of how much money it needs to be invested in all of our communities, in all of our districts, whether it's done by the locals or the local government agencies or the Commonwealth. And therefore, our idea of spending a great deal of money or investing in a new PlanCon or doing something for the Commonwealth is inappropriate because we don't actually even know what the need is. School districts already, to my friends, already do an assessment. They are, in fact, required by law to do an assessment every 5 years to be able to say, hey, this is the status of our buildings. But none of that data is actually collected by the Commonwealth. And if we are going to be asking members to potentially vote on additional funding for school construction so that we can get rid of a school that was built when the Civil War just ended, maybe, just maybe, we should get that data first. And now we're being told that the whole process of collecting data, which largely exists at the school district level but is not coordinated on the state level, is a new burden? I'm confused. And so, just like the whole chicken and egg thing, what do we do first? Do we fund school construction without actually knowing what all the data is? Which, I'll be perfectly honest, that's actually my preference. But that wasn't the preference, that wasn't the conversation that came out of the BEF. So trying to be responsive to a conversation that we should really know what the actual assessment is across the state, this is the idea that we had. So if I sound frustrated, I am. Because every day that we delay, every barrier that we put in front of a school district to invest in more schools is another day that a kid is going to school with no heat. And if you think I'm kidding, my daughter's high school had no heat last year. It's really hard to take notes in mittens. And so as we're trying to remove a barrier, one that I really candidly think is kind of stupid, by increasing data and allowing us to take a comprehensive review of the most at-risk schools, the places where we need the most amount of investment, including our way overcrowded career and tech centers. We're just trying to get the information so that if we're ever able to get to the point where this body decides to prioritize our students' health, safety, and well-being in their physical buildings, that we actually know where we're investing our money. School districts are already doing it. This is not a new mandate on school districts. They are already required to do these assessments. What we're asking is that the Department of Education, who, by the way, we're a partner in the crafting of these amendments, are able to collect that data so that we can, and report to the public of the status of their buildings so that we're able to make stronger and informed decisions. For those reasons, and countless others, I ask for an affirmative vote. With that, Mr. Leclerc, if you will please take a roll call.
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representatives Abney,
Yes, by designation.
Curry, Friel, Isaacson, Kazim,
Yes, by designation.
Nelson,
Yes, by designation.
O'Mara,
Yes, by designation.
Friel Otten, Probst, Prokopiak, Smith Wade L,
Yes, by designation.
Takak, Yun,
Yes, by designation.
Chairman Cutler,
No.
Representatives Anderson,
No.
Cooper, Diorsi, Lime, Kozak,
No by designation.
McKenzie, Ortitai,
No by designation.
Rosal,
No.
Schlegel,
No.
Shalaba,
No by designation.
Watro. The ayes are 14, the nays are 12. The bill as amended passes.
Thank you, sir. Please don't. Representative Nelson, my apologies, I didn't see a sneak in there. Thank you for that. Several announcements for the committee. Chair Cutler and I will be hosting a meet and greet breakfast with representatives from FIA. If anybody is currently paying student loans for their kids, like I am, there is an opportunity for us to sort of build those relationships. I think very candidly, we both felt that we don't do a very good job of engaging with this state agency and just doing a meet and greet event here in the Majority Caucus Room on Monday, October 6th. I know it's before session on a Monday, and so if people are able to get up here, it's between 10 and 11:30. Also, next week on October 7th, the Hardest Working Committee in Harrisburg will be holding a joint committee hearing. It's informational only with the House Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee at 9:30 in 515 Irvis. And the purpose of that hearing is to discuss and hear testimony on House Bill 1768, which is the Keystone Fresh Act. Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.